It has been, I think, over 6 months since I have recorded a YouTube video. I have been doing more stuff on TikTok. I think my brain has been so overwhelmed with chief year that short form content has really been like all that I could mentally do. But I've missed it, and now obviously TikTok is questionable in the future. And also I need to do my 6-month chief year update, my halfway through chief year update, because this is the video that I feel like I'll be watching when I'm 10 years into my career, looking back on these times. And so I think this is like a good video diary of what my life is like at this time. But if you are following along and watching this video, welcome back. My name is Erin. I am now a 5th year urology resident. I have been doing videos on this channel for years and years and years, and one thing I've been doing are these like every 6-month updates. So like halfway through X year and then like the end of X year update. So this is my chief year update. Crazy. It is like thinking back on how many years I've been doing this and thinking like, oh, my halfway through 2nd year update, and now I'm in my 2nd semester senior, like I am a 2nd semester senior resident. That is crazy. But I have some thoughts, so let's jump in. I would say the biggest thing I think of when I think of changes in chief year is the autonomy over the patients. Feeling like these are your patients and you are making decisions as to what you're doing in their care, making decisions on who's going to the OR. This is your last year. I mean, you have the attendings and you're obviously like talking with the attendings all the time, but like you want to be able to make those plans and make the right decisions and take the right people to surgery, because this is the last year where you'll have a backboard to bounce ideas off of before you are an attending. And obviously when you're an attending, if there's a difficult case, you work with other people, but this is the last year where you really have that oversight, that you have like someone you can't take someone to the OR without an attending, right? So you're always checking with people, but you want to make that decision on your own. I think that previously I did not feel as much autonomy, and obviously this is all based on my opinion, but as a chief, you are the one making the plans in the morning. You are the one texting the attendings. I have clinics that I see patients where like the majority of the plan comes from me, and if I have questions, I check with people. But I am the one who does a lot of care for these patients, which is obviously the whole point of being a doctor, and it is a big upgrade in responsibility. I think a lot of this year is knowing that, next year you're going to be making these decisions solo. And I think in previous years, I had been thinking a lot about, okay, well, what would this attending do? Or what would this attending say? And now my mindset has switched to more, what would I do? Like if this is my patient that I'm seeing next year, what would I do? How would I take care of them? How would I counsel them? Like what would I want to do in this situation, rather than what would I think this attending would want to do? And I think that's where a lot of the autonomy comes from, is really putting yourself in the mindset of the decision maker, taking the attending out of it. Obviously you're still checking and all of that stuff, but taking the attending out of it, you are the decision maker. That is a big responsibility, obviously, and that's why you go into becoming a doctor. And residency is all about training, and you always have someone to check with, but it's coming to an end. It takes a lot of emotional energy to do that. The amount of emotional energy and decision-making energy it takes, I understand why people say the first 2 years of it being an attending are the hardest, because it just takes a lot of thought and effort to make these very, very, very big decisions for people and with patients. And you get a little bit of decision-making fatigue, I think. I know when I come home and my husband's like, oh, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I cannot make another decision right now. Like, I can't do it. And I think, obviously becoming more comfortable with that and getting more used to that comes with time. But it is emotionally a big increase in work, I would say, from the other years. Just knowing that You are the head of the team. You are ultimately the one who makes decisions for the team. You are the one presenting those decisions to the attendings, and you really want those decisions to be right. And that takes a lot of emotional energy. I think a lot of making those decisions is also figuring out that, in a majority of cases, there's no one right decision. So many times you could do this and you could do this, and it's just figuring out what you are comfortable with and what your style is, and kind of like slotting yourself into those situations and figuring out what you would want to do and what your style is. While emotionally there's a lot more energy and a lot more put into like the work day, I will say one of the huge benefits of being a chief compared to any of the other years is call. For us, we are only on backup call, meaning that we don't hold the primary pager. We are only called if the junior needs help, or if they want to run patients by us, or if someone needs to go to the OR, or if they have questions. Like, we're there to help basically, but we don't get called to be like, can you change this order? Can you put an admission order in? Like, they always pretty much triage every situation and then call us if they need help. And so you're obviously woken up way less frequently throughout the night. You can leave earlier in the day, like on the weekends and stuff. I'm rounding, then you can leave, and all of the little stuff, the difficult Foleys that come throughout the day, you're not really there to deal with. So that is much easier in terms of like a physical energy. I think also, I kind of alluded to this before, but instead of trying to like please the attendings and making the right decisions that I think they would want me to make, it's more like I'm really delving into soaking up the wisdom from the attendings and why you made that decision. Because like I kind of said, a lot of these decisions and experience and stuff comes from the experience of being a doctor. One of my attendings always says, that's why I have the white hair. Like, I've been doing this for so long. That's what gives me the white hair, is making these decisions. And a lot of that just comes from experience. And so just really delving into like, why did you make that decision? If I make a decision that differs from my attending, almost always the attending is right. And I'm like, what did I learn from this experience? And really reflecting on that versus just kind of like being so busy that you don't even have time to reflect on that. That's what's nice about not holding the pager, is really thinking through a lot of these decisions. So there's a lot more going on up here than like physically going on. And that decision making also comes with the logistics. So deciding who's going to surgery, deciding what approach you want to do for surgery, thinking about how you're going to take the steps, thinking about how you're going to close, thinking about what you need for surgery. A lot of these little things, the logistics that you don't really think of when you're more of a junior resident, you're just trying to like drink from a fire hose. Now you're not. So you need to focus on more of these little details and setting yourself up for when you're on your own in practice. So you have to think about, okay, what sutures do I need to ask the scrub techs to get before the surgery? What do I need to do to make sure that this patient can go to surgery? Like cardiology clearance, pulmonology clearance, all of this stuff that kind of you just automatically think gets done for you before, you are more involved in now. Also trying to learn the things that goes on behind the scenes, like billing, like coding things. All of that is a whole nother layer to being a doctor that you just really don't get into in residency at all. And so I was talking to one of my attendings about this the other day, and we were talking about like how to organize your schedule and how to like get clinic and the OR together and like all of these little logistical things. And I was like, how did you learn how to do that? And he was like, honestly, I just had to learn on the job. Like, these are things that you don't get exposed to in residency. And so I think that's what also makes being an attending very difficult, is you're just constantly growing, and that first 2 years is the biggest period of growth. And I'm trying to like prepare for that now and trying to get a little taste into what that's like. I think being a second semester senior resident, I keep making that joke, but like that's really kind of what it's like, and that's kind of what I feel like. Like, I've obviously been doing this for 5 years. This is the longest I've ever been doing anything, more than undergrad, more than medical school. Like, this is the longest period of time and the hardest work I've ever done. Like, residency is so hard, and this is the hardest thing that I've ever done, and I'm ready to be done. Like, I'm ready to be in my adult role, in my adult job, but I am also so afraid to leave residency, because like I've been alluding to, I think leaving, you have this like safety net when you're in residency. You always have someone higher than you who you are able to run stuff by. When you're on call, there's always an attending on call. You try to make a lot of decisions independently, but ultimately you always have someone there to talk to. And when you are an attending, you are that person. Like, everyone looks to you. You are the person that they can talk to. And so I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to, you know, get started in my life, in my job. Like, you kind of feel like there's this perpetual level of training in residency. It's kind of hard to feel like a true grown-up because you're still just in training in school. And I think of it kind of like school, like you're constantly in school and training. And then you graduate and then you're an adult, but also that safety net goes away. So it's those conflicting emotions. I would say one of the other things that I've found kind of particularly difficult this year, and this is learning something about my personality, but leading people and leading a team is really hard. I feel like in the past, you're just kind of responsible for yourself and your own work ethic and getting your own work done. And leading the team, you're responsible for everyone. Not only are you responsible for the decisions, but you're responsible for morale. You're responsible for people doing like admin things on time. You're responsible for people feeling happy or sad, or, you know, a lot of times it's out of your control, but you're responsible for so many things in the team. And I have a very hard time delegating things. I feel very guilty delegating things. And obviously you have to delegate things as a chief. Like, you can't be doing 400 things. And so that has been a big adjustment for me. I will say one of the coolest things from this year is really the times when you feel like you know what you're doing. There have been, you are, you know, like I think I've said this so many times, but you're about to graduate, you're about to leave. And so you should know what you're doing. And when everything clicks into place and you're seeing a clinic patient and you know exactly how to counsel them, or you're doing a surgery and you know exactly how to do it and you know how to execute it, you know the steps, you know how to execute it, you know how to get the results. That is such a great feeling. And you doing it on your own, like not on your own, you always have someone watching you and who can get you out of trouble, but you being able to do it and knowing that if you were on your own, you would be able to do it is such a great feeling. And it's kind of like the culmination of all the work you've been doing for the last 5 years. And that's really the best thing about this year is you're seeing all the work you've been doing for the last 5 years, all the things that you've learned slot into place, all the skills that you've picked up, you know, hours and hours and hours on the robot, hours and hours and hours doing surgery, reading about cases, watching YouTube videos. It all clicks into place, and it is so gratifying feeling like I'm a doctor, like I'm actually doing this. In the next 6 months of residency, which are my last 6 months of residency, I want to work on continuing to get more comfortable making those tough decisions and just constantly making decisions for yourself all the time. I think that's something I will continually work on throughout my whole career, but I think obviously getting very, very comfortable with that while I still have someone, you know, looking over me and checking my decisions is the whole point of this. So I really want to get really way more comfortable doing that. I want to gain more confidence in myself. I know I can do it, and I have been doing it. And I think just like making that mental step into believing in yourself and thinking what it's going to be like when that safety net is gone is good for me to mentally prepare. So I would like to continue to do that. I want to continue to work on being a good leader. You know, when I'm in practice, I do want to kind of make my way up through the practice and be a leader of some sort, whether that be for when I'm, you know, getting older, being a role model for the people just joining the practice, whether that's holding a position in the practice, that's more of a leadership role. I want to continue to expand that side of myself. So I want to work on some of like the strength, you know, the strength and conviction when you're a leader, being able to delegate, being able to assign tasks, not feeling like you have to do everything yourself, but that comfort in knowing what you're good at and giving that trust in other people that they can also, you know, get stuff done and all work together as a team. I think that is going to be good for me and definitely a good thing to work on chief year. It is so crazy that I only have 6 months left. I mean, really, when I think about it, these 5 years have gone by so quickly, but also so slowly. Like this has been such a long time and such hard work, and for there to only be 6 months left is wild. But I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna start making more videos on here. I need to get back. These are the roots and this is what I love to do. So I'm gonna start making more videos on here. But I hope you enjoyed this. This is more of a video diary for myself, but if it helps anyone else out there or is interesting, that's always good. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.